Peter, tú fuiste víctima de abusos cuando eras un niño. ¿Cómo cambió esto tu vida?
I've been very fortunate in so many ways that I've maintained my faith in a God. I've been surrounded by a lot of love as I've grown up, and I've been able to deal with the abuse. But I will never forget it, and I still have a weekly therapy session now, and I may need that for the rest of my life. And these are crimes that should simply not happen to anybody, but they've happened to millions of children. And to be abused also by somebody who purports to be of God is also to attack your very soul.
¿Quiénes cometieron esos abusos?
I was abused by a family member and 2 Jesuit priests at my secondary school. And that priest also abused my brother, who was at the school 6 years before me. But the first abuse I suffered was at the hands of my primary school head teacher when I was just a little boy.
¿Y cuándo te empiezas a dar cuenta de que lo que está pasando es un abuso que hacen de un menor?
I didn't understand what was happening. I knew it wasn't good, but it was happening. It was being done by people who I thought loved me. And so the child is very confused, and you grow up feeling very confused. And then in my case, it happened again and again. All I knew was the next 20 years, I always felt worthless, I always felt dirty, I always felt something wasn't right, I always felt different, I felt isolated, alone, even after I got married and had children. And then when my children were 6 and 7 years of age, that was one of the things that made me realize that what had happened to me was so terribly, terribly wrong. Because if someone had done what was done to me to my children, I would kill whoever did that, you know.
Did you feel guilty?
I don't know whether guilty is the right feeling, but I certainly felt as though I must have done something wrong to attract this behavior, even though that's completely illogical. I look back and I think, if I was able to, had I been able to speak out about those things, how many other children may have been saved by me speaking out? If only I could have spoken out. But what we have to remember is that abuse is such a deep-rooted psychological attack on a child that it leaves the child just unable, most of the time, to speak out or to deal with this. And that's why we cannot, in a way, put all the responsibility onto the child for speaking out. Even today, we have to protect our children.
Peter, ya para terminar, ¿qué crees que debería hacer la Iglesia si realmente quiere acabar con la pederastia dentro de su seno?
The Pope himself should put his hands up and to admit to those things, as indeed do many other clerics. They need to confess their failings and their sins. Change must happen. You know, around the world, the people of the church are beginning to rise up. They are beginning to realize that the institution itself has at its core a corrupt element that leads to the abuse of children.
Peter Saunders, muchas gracias.
You're very welcome. Gracias.